Good morning. This is Jeffrey Mangus with Ghostwriting USA podcast and video channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning into the uh, the show. It really is exciting to have all the subscribers and all the support of all of you listeners out there in podcast land. I really do appreciate it. Um, I am a little housekeeping. I've definitely set a schedule to have the podcast. It'll be recorded each week. I'm even considering twice a week, and really hoping to make that happen, depending on time and the projects that are currently pending. Um, I want to announce that I have a new book that's going to be published July of this year, 21, with Roman and Littlefield. And my new book is called Am Possible, AMP Possible. Uh, Real solutions for every amputee to accomplish the impossible. And the book is a truly deep dive into exactly and precisely what an amputee endures and goes through from the time they lose their limb to the time they get their life back. And it is a real world, firsthand um, perspective. And it answers, my attempt in the book was to answer every question that any amputee would have about their limb loss and how to adapt and cope and how to overcome the challenges that it's also geared for the families, the loved ones who take care of the amputee. They're going through it as well, so the book is aimed at them as well. The reason I mentioned my book, and I'm very excited about the publication of that book, it is available on Amazon right now in pre-order. But the reason I mentioned the book was it my book has a very targeted reader. It's a very targeted audience, and I focused that book on two two major readers, two major focused groups, which is of course amputees and then their families, like I just mentioned. I felt that was very important because when I lost my left leg below the knee in 2017, my wife had no earthly idea what to do, how to help me, how to take care of me. And I didn't know the answers to that as well. I didn't know how to help her help me. So it was a very, very hard struggle for us both, and the incentive to write the book. And way I figured it, many people have these same issues and problems. So I wanted to solve that problem. So the topic of the podcast today, getting to that, is if you want to sell your book, there's four ways that you need to think like an editor. You need to think about your book as a business plan and having those targeted readers in mind. Every day, I speak to a lot of authors throughout the course of my days and weeks, and potential clients. I meet with them and discover about new books and new book ideas, which I love doing. I love learning, about people and their lives, and and what they have to say to the world, which I totally encourage. But one of the first questions that I ask a new author and basically I get this question asking me first is, how do I get a major publisher? How do I get published? How do I do that? Well, I answer that question by asking two questions. And because to get to it, to understand which direction, you really first need to ask these two questions. And the first question is, who is your target audience? That's a very, very important question. The second question is, who is your primary reader? Who is that one person who's going to sit and read your book? You can, when you're writing a book, even if you're hiring a ghostwriter, if you have an idea, um, you have to imagine in your mind that one special person who you want to read your book. and you keep that person in your focus in your mind until the book completion. That way you have the same target, same objective, and the same goal with that in mind. It's very, very important. I cannot stress this enough, and that's why I want to talk about, you know, ways to do that and how to discover your target reader. Not knowing your target reader is a critical mistake. Um, and many authors make it. They try to write a book. I've seen many authors write a book. I'm approached with authors with manuscripts that have been written, but are completely out of focus, out of whack. They don't know they're trying to reach 10 people instead of just one or one audience. Or when an author tells me my book, everyone will love my book. It's everybody's going to love it. It's going to be awesome. When I hear these words, I immediately know that they haven't done any due diligence. They haven't thought about who is that target audience they're trying to attract. Without that, the book will ultimately fail, and we don't want the book to fail. We want every book to be successful. We want the book to reach the people it's intended to reach. And so, not knowing who your primary audience is or your primary reader, this is the first critical mistake you as an author can make. And I mean, I understand most new authors don't know who their target audience is and don't even know how to establish that. And but when you don't have this, and I know I'm sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but it's so critical to uh, it's just the success of any book because you won't have a chance in hell in in selling your book, or if you're trying to secure a major publishing deal, there's no way you can do it without having that focus. Understanding your primary reader is, and how your book will help them is the essential step, the critical step for publishing or failing. I mean, there isn't any way around it. I mean, this step it must be taken, and a book should never be written haphazardly without any type of direction or focus. You must have a plan. I talk about this all the time. How writing a book is like creating a small business. You must have a business plan, a marketing objective. When you start a new business, whether if it's you're starting a soup kitchen or a plumbing company, it doesn't matter. You must have a business plan. If you're going to get any funding or financing, and going to approach a bank for help to get your business started, they're going to ask for a business plan. The same with a book. A lot of authors make this critical mistake and don't have a plan and just write it because they have it in their heart. They want to get it out, which is great. And I'm not even saying anything negative about that. But without the direction, the book will probably just lay on a computer somewhere or have it be a printed manuscript that's in your file folder. It won't go anywhere. It won't do anything. And there might be some you out there that are thinking of writing a book, thinking, "Yeah, how can you say that?" Well, because I've been in the business long enough and I've seen it every day, and I know the haphazards and I know the obstacles and challenges in writing a book. And this is the absolute critical aspect, which is knowing your target audience. I mean, I love writing and writing books and selling books. To me, it's glorious. It's an achievement. It fills my heart with joy in writing every day for authors, making authors' dreams come true. But being an author and being a novelist, uh, it's it's important, and that I'm dedicated, and there's a lot of hard work to see a book through. And so if you don't think about your book as a business, think about it like an editor. Um, I mean, even if your book gets written and published, it will end up it could end up in the back of a thrift store or bargain basement back table somewhere because it just would not sell. So today I want to lay out the main questions and get to the heart of the matter when it comes to publishing your book with a major publisher and understanding your target audience. And this advice applies to everyone, every new author out there. That if you're self-publishing or if you're trying to pursue major publishing, this advice you should take into your heart and thinking like I'm going to teach you to think like an editor, and how to understand your plan will make your path to the bestseller list less risky and less rocky. It'll be less challenging. And that's the goal, is to make it easier for you to get your book written and get it out to the world. Every editor in every book meeting across the globe asks four major questions about a book and and a project they're presenting to their publisher. And you, as an author, should have these questions answered at the forefront, even before you start writing a single word. Because every decision about your book from a major publishing standpoint, the acquisition of your book, the marketability of the book, size of the advance, the book cover, advertising, and selling is all based upon these following questions. Everything is wrapped up, and this is what you have to ask yourself. Does the book project have a specific buying audience? Think about that for a second. What is it that you're writing? Again, who is going to be your reader? Who is that target market? I mean, if you're writing a book on making earrings, then your target audience would probably be women, of course, maybe wives, maybe weddings. I mean, you can really narrow it down, but you just have to brainstorm about that. So does the book project have a specific book buying audience? Specific. Focus in on that. Think about that and answer that question. Ask yourself that question and answer it, because that way, that's part of your business plan with your book. When you have these answers and it's going to help you with your marketing and your focus on where you want to take your book. Second question, who makes up that specific audience? Who are these people like I just described? If you're making earrings or writing a book on earrings and earrings production, then you're going to target, of course, women, and then you're going to target, young women and teenagers. It can branch out into so many different sectors and market audiences that you need to focus in. So who makes up that specific audience? Determine that about your book, and ask yourself that question, and then answer it honestly. And if you don't have the answer, then brainstorm further and find that specific audience. Who are those people that are going to buy your book? That is critical, because if you answer those questions, again, it makes the publisher and agents, makes their job easier, and plus it gives you a better chance in securing a traditional publishing deal, or even securing an agent by putting together a book proposal, which you can have a ghostwriter write, if that is what you choose, and that's another whole topic. But that's answering that question. Specific audience is critical for the publisher to sell your book to their company. Number three, what will the book say differently? What is the angle or significance of this specific audience? What is it about your book that is better or provides more information than other books on the market? This is a very important question to ask. This helps you focus in on what makes your book special, and also helps you focus in the material and the information, and it makes you really dig deep within yourself to provide that information. Because if for something you're missing, something you don't, maybe you're very skilled at a certain topic, but maybe there's something that you don't understand, then you have to go and research and find that information and educate yourself to bring that information out to your target audience, to your reader. But what is it about your book that's different, that's unique, special? What makes it stand above and rise above the crowd? When you understand that question, that is a critical aspect to your book selling, you acquiring a literary agent or a traditional publisher. This is, even if you're self-publishing, I don't ever want to say during my podcast that I'm not, pushing self-publishing. Self-publishing is a wonderful aspect. to get your book out, but it must be done right. And these questions still need to be answered for your book to be successful. Self-published, traditional published, it doesn't matter. Without a target audience, your book will go nowhere. So the fourth question is to ask yourself, will this audience want the book and find the book intriguing enough to purchase it? Will your target audience want to know the information that you're providing so bad, or will it drive them and inspire them to pick up your book and buy it, to shell out their hard-earned dollars to get the information that you're providing? Answer that question honestly. Do you have that information? Do you feel that your book is better? Do you feel your idea has something that's special that no one else has ever given or provided? These are important things to ask yourself. Understanding your audience and um, is so it's a major benefit. Um, and does I mean do you understand your audience and who's the main reader who would benefit from your knowledge and be able, who is that person and readers target audience that is going to buy your book, and who's going to read it? Is your book written for children, young adults, mothers and babies, divorced fathers, even, I mean, self-help seekers? Or is your book written for business people, entrepreneurs, CEOs? Knowing your exact audience, who's going to buy your book, allows you to research the problems that the audience experiences, and then you can deep dive into solving the problems that exist within that specific demographic. It's very, very important. And I keep stressing that and I keep talking about it. But I see so many authors that come to fail or don't have a direction, and the book either gets not written or gets lost in the shuffle. Um, when it comes to publishers and literary agents, I mean, when you present a book idea with all of this information, this accurate information, this with all these questions answered, and it's um, full of comprehensive information for your target reader, an agent or editor has a better chance of selling your book to a publisher, or you have a better chance at selling your book to the target audience through self-publishing. Novelist Anne Lamott, she wrote a book. She's incredible in the writing world, and she wrote, "I still encourage anyone who feels at all compelled to write to do so. I just try to warn people who hope to get published that publication is not all it is cracked up to be, but writing is. Writing has so much to give, much to teach, so many surprises. That thing you had to force yourself to do, the actual act of writing, turns out to be the best part. It's like discovering that while you thought you needed the tea ceremony for the caffeine, what you really needed was the tea ceremony. The act of writing turns out to be its own reward." So if you're a new author and you are thinking of writing a book, writing is the reward of the book. It's the special sauce. It makes a great book. But understanding those four questions and answering those four questions is the only way to make your book stand out and make your book successful and rise above. Writing, again, is the special sauce in a well-written book. However, no matter how well it's written, will not see the light of day without focusing on these unique perspectives that you have for your reader that I'm asking you to ask yourself to do. Understanding those perspectives. Who's your target audience? Who is your target reader? Knowing your book's specific take on how to solve the reader's problem uh, and to pass on critical knowledge is the key to securing a publisher and securing sales for your book. Once again, ask yourself, how does your book, what is your take on the subject, and how does it differ from existing books that are written on the market? What is your distinctive view that can brighten up someone's day, solve their problem, or help them? What insight do you possess that provides a more in-depth view of the subject for the reader? All of these questions need to be answered as you start the book writing process. And understanding, who your single lone reader is, and thinking like an editor and asking yourself these questions gives you an advantage of massive proportions in either acquiring a publisher for your book, acquiring a literary agent, or acquiring, because once you brainstorm and determine the uniqueness of your book, you are well on your way to having a well-written, informative, attractive, sellable, marketable, even sleek and defined and successful book. If you're here and you are thinking of writing a book, you have a book idea, I hope you take these questions and this podcast to heart and really deep dive into the exacts on your book. And plus, if you're here and you're thinking of hiring a ghostwriter, these are all things that if you answer these questions, it will help you work with your ghostwriter through the process. Having this direction and knowing where you want to go with your book and who is being written for will only help you and your book be successful. Writing a book is special. And the thing I love about writing a book is because it's something that will live on for a very, very long time. And it's an incredible experience to take your knowledge and pass it on to those who need it the most for it to live on, even past you. You know, your book it will stay out there. And then if it does well in the market, if it hits hard and answers questions and entertains people or educates people or enlightens people, then your book will find success. My show is about anyone out there looking to hire a ghostwriter, because I'm under the no illusion that I'm the perfect ghostwriter for every author. That's not an impossibility. That's an impossibility. But if you're here and you're looking for a ghostwriter and you would like to talk to me about writing your book, or at least go over the idea and let me help you understand the process and understand what you want to do with your book, I would love to learn how I can do that. You can always reach me and contact me at ghostwritingusa.com, or you can email me with any questions you have, or set up a meeting. I call them a kickstart meeting. These meetings are not sales pitches. This is me learning about you and your book on a genuine, honest platform. You can email me at ghostwriterusa and the number 1 at gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in to the Ghostwriting USA podcast and video channel. I really appreciate everyone's support. And if you are new here and you like the podcast, click and subscribe to the podcast. I'd love to have you on board. And if you're here on watching the video channel, click below and subscribe. Would love to have you. And please, if you have any questions that you have, post them. Let me answer them. I would love to help. Again, this is Jeffrey Mangus with Ghostwriting USA podcast. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.